Halo 3 is a game that this e-boy has been playing ever since the year of our Lord 2007. Back when my biggest concern was if the local gas station was going to run out of Master Chief Mountain Dew game fuel and whether or not someone online did my mom. Today, we are asking a question that has probably never been asked. Can you beat Halo 3 without moving the camera? This is a challenge that is directly piggybacking off my SpongeBob video. In that video, I wasn't allowed to move the camera in a platformer. So, being the big brain YouTube dude I am, I thought that an FPS was worth a shake. Let's get into it, boys. The first mission is Sierra 117. This mission has been ingrained into this gamer guy brain from all the times the hashtag #HalfPriceShakeGang and I tried to race to see who could beat the game first. I fumbled around with the controls a bit, and here we are, just vibing and letting that sweet muscle memory come back. This is where this hot gamer guy had my first combat encounter. The auto-aim is pretty aggressive, and there isn't a way to turn it off that I found. Oh well, this ends up being as much of a curse as it can be a blessing, so take that as you will. This is what I mean when I say the auto-aim can be a curse. When you smack a grunt like it stole your cookie from the high school cafeteria, your aim gets pulled down because Master Chief looks down on these soy boys with all his Chadley might. Bridges are supposed to connect and provide unity. Not in this playthrough, baby! Every bridge is worse than when you see someone else simping for your favorite e-girl. Oh, it's rough sometimes. I didn't quite know it yet, but this was going to be my first Roblox oof moment. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this section was as easy as all the kids online say my mom is. The only problem that kept this epic gamer moment from continuing was the button press to free our boys and continue the mission. At first I just thought it was something you shot, so I threw grenades, I tried to use the gravity hammer. However, I turned the camera to make sure it was a button press. It was. And due to the checkpoint being right here, with my camera screwed up, I had no choice, so I reset the level. Yay. I guess that's punishment enough for resetting my camera, huh? It wasn't too bad though. It is the first level of the game after all. So now that I was back in black, I needed to be conscious of which way my camera was facing. Not wanting to deal with too many bad guys and screw up this nice angle of the dangle, I rushed to the spot so I could free our dudes and get this show on the road. The next level is Crow's Nest. Coming in, I thought this mission was going to be hot garbage, but turns out it wasn't too bad, although I will say this level is a maze. I got lost on more than one occasion, and probably spent a good 15 minutes wandering around and moonwalking my way through doorways. I also thought the drones were going to be a pain, but my AI teammates did something. That's funny. I remember them being pretty useless when I was a kid. Maybe that changed in the Master Chief collection, who knows. Another thing that made this mission relatively painless was the fact that you could open doors even when you weren't facing them. Hallelujah! That probably saved me a boatload of time, man. This fight section wasn't too bad, but I did want to note it because it is the first solo fight section in the game. This is where the auto-aim and the fact that Master Chief slaps the might of the angriest southern grandma makes this run feasible. I mean, everyone likes to melee and grenade throw in Halo, don't they? I got interrupted by the original e-girl herself. With not much more to note, this mission was down the hatch. It really wasn't that bad thanks to generous button prompts and a lack of tough enemies. It is just the second mission after all. Now it's on to the next mission. Savo Highway, baby. This is the first driving heavy level of the game. This is where I realized that for the most part, driving is absolutely useless. I use my teammates to bring me along some distances, but since the AI is kinda trash, it's really only useful for getting me in the right direction. Much like how not shooting in my Black Ops video sucked all the action and fun out of the game, not driving around blasting everything like some edgy 8th grader's wet dream took all the fun out of this mission. It really isn't much to say about the middle part of this mission. At least it was fun to rock out to the Halo music while strafing my happy butt to the next waypoint. The last part of the mission is where I finally got to see some action. But I got myself into a bit of a pickle here trying just to waddle my way past all the baddies. Much like eating too much crappy food, they catch up to ya. I even got my first death. I'm kinda surprised it didn't come from wandering off a cliff like a group of lemmings, but I guess I'll take it. This time around, my teammates came to save the day like the mini Australian Chads they are. and I spanked the last shield generator to move on to mission number 4. We cruising, baby, let's go! Mission 4 is the Storm, and of course it starts off with a button press that I can't get. Well, we're not giving up this easy. No, no, no. So your boy tried to see what he could do with the Warthog, and thankfully, due to some 1000 IQ plays, I was able to get that button pressed. Hell yeah. Hijacking vehicles is another thing that became my bread and butter this playthrough. At least that is something that's proximity based instead of camera angle based. Speaking of hijacking vehicles, once the Alcoholics Anonymous wraiths were taken out, it was time to hijack the big bad Scarab. But fear not, having played this game more times than my parents have told me they love me, it was just about getting up this elevator and jumping right onto this beefy boy. Once inside, it was just a matter of bouncing some grenades off this little piece here in order to send this thing to the Shadow Realm. Piece of cake for a gamer god like myself. This first encounter with hunters wasn't too bad either. Even though I was like a crappy classmate who didn't do their share of the work, those hunters still got roasted and toasted. This is where I got my first real taste of frustration this run. I even thought I was doing some big brain time stuff and trying to bounce the fuel rod shots up to hit the spot to make this turret go boom boom. But I ran out of ammo, and with that, I had to reset this bad boy. So, this is where I thought I was going to have my best opportunity to get this thing done. However, because I rushed through the prior part, this gravity hammer jackass followed me and hit an RBI double to center field to knock my butt down. Oh boy. Thankfully, I was given a generous checkpoint, and with my elite gamer skills, I was able to set up an angle to take this sucker down. This was definitely the worst part yet. Floodgate is next, so make sure you grab your favorite blankie, your favorite nightlight, some Scooby-Doo fruit snacks, and some Kool-Aid jammers, because it's about to get spooky in here, boys. I've always liked the flood levels, and honestly, meleeing them is how I've usually taken them out, so the fact that that's mostly what I'm going to do here isn't going to be too bad, or at least it shouldn't be. This mission was easy, especially when I got my hands on a spiker. This bad boy chopped up everyone like I was Jeffrey Dahmer. Although I did get my booty smacked by a beefy boy to die at least once. The part time for this mission is 15 minutes. Even with a death, I was able to beat it in under that time. The only other thing to note at this point is that I jumped over a flood and it dragged my camera to the floor. So I had to finish the last bit like I was a kid getting yelled at by their parents. But it wasn't too bad, especially since the elites were slicing their way through the flood at that point. So yeah, I was able to find Cortana and beat the mission. Not too bad. The Ark was a mission I really didn't know what to expect. It is another big driving mission, but whenever I think about the Halo 3 campaign, this mission is the forgotten one for me. But, in terms of the challenge, this first part was fine. I pretty much just bopped some peeps on the nose and continued my journey to the promised land. Now I don't know why, but I decided to walk most of this section. I know the AI driving is pretty crappy, but I spent way too much time wandering around. I was able to find a ghost though, which made me very happy as you can drive this sucker in any direction regardless of the camera orientation. So driving isn't completely worthless. So, this is where the run really started to salt my pretzels here. The auto-aim kept getting dragged by the ghosts like someone who sends a bad tweet gets dragged by the people on that app. I also found it hard to take them out while also dodging the fire from the various turrets and the ghosts themselves. It was starting to build that sweet taste of pain I wanted this run to give me. Oh man, this is awesome! Well, that's fine. That's fine. A challenge isn't really worth doing if it's easy, right? I'll just keep throwing myself at it hoping that I can make some headway each time. Hashtag positivity, baby. Thankfully, I got through this the same way I somehow got through Calc 2 in college, with a lot of tears and persistence. The tank is kinda drivable without moving the camera, however it makes the gun unusable, so for at least a little bit I let my AI pals take the wheel the same way Jesus took the wheel from me at Bible camp. Along with, some other things. I had some troubles pressing a button to make a bridge for my homies, but thankfully I found a perfectly placed chopper to flip the camera around to the right angle. Okay, so this Scarab gave me so much trouble. This big jerk got me so frustrated, I was yelling and cursing, saying words like heck and darn. Man, this was rough. I even tried to shoot at it with my regular guns for some reason. Yeah, this was so much fun. The strategy that ended up being the best was using this wraith that I found. So thankfully, it started to look promising. But this boy stomped on me more than a few times. So I was finally able to destroy this guy. This was not my first time inside the Scarab, by the way. There were 2 other instances where I got yeeted from this sucker because this game's physics are from 2007. Oh man, though, it was satisfying when I took that sucker down, I tell you what. Thankfully, the rest of this mission went by without any headaches. I just slapped some brutes the same way Phil Swift smacks flex tape on stuff, and I was finally able to beat the Ark. This mission took the longest so far, time-wise, so there's that. The Covenant was next on this tour de farce. I love this mission. It just has so much in it. From flying, to driving, to shooting baddies. It's probably one of my favorite Halo missions of all time. Getting to my beacon was easy. I just hopped in a teammate's Warthog and they drove me up. From there I just kind of ran past dudes because I'm 3 days from retirement and I'm getting sick of this crap, man. Now it was time to fly. It's amazing that crazy people like me who attempt this challenge are still on the fly list. This was actually super nice for once. With the auto-aim and the Hornet's maneuverability, it was a piece of cake to do this section. I deserve this. With the other beacon lit, or whatever the plot of this mission is, complete, we survived a short ambush from the Flood. Gasp! And this section, oh, this section got me heated, like my mom heats up my pizza rolls when I save up enough good boy points. I died here. A lot. And a lot. And a lot. Oh man, my first idea was to land a Hornet on top of Scarab 1. Spank that dude. Then take the Hornet and go to Scarab 2 to repeat. However, why would it be that simple? Instead, I would fly my Hornet on top, kill the first one, and then either get killed by the blast before I could get back in, or the Hornet would be busted because of the game's physics. And, to make things even more infuriating, when I finally did get this maneuver to work, I was yeeted from the Scarab at least 2 times. It's not surprising, just disappointing. I even tried offing my teammates at the Hornet spot so I could have a backup in case the other got destroyed. Thankfully, my initial plan finally worked and I was able to beat these 2 Scarabs. My lord, this was a nightmare. The last part of this mission was rightfully easy after all that hernia-inducing pain from the last section. Some plot points happened, yada yada yada, and it was time to go rescue the original E-Girl herself in everyone's favorite mission, Cortana. Cortana is a mission that's definitely one of my least favorite missions. I'm sure most of the Half Price Shake gang would agree with me on that one. It's just a maze and a half, even when you can see where you're going. So the fact that I was staring at walls and the floor for the fat majority of this mission really didn't help me any. And it also doesn't help that the E-Girl keeps interrupting the read-off donos, and the Gravemind keeps shelling out his simp bucks for some more nice comments. Oh yeah, so much fun. Besides constantly being slapped by the Flood like it was that spank line in that SpongeBob episode, there really wasn't much of a problem. I just kept wandering around like an old person with Alzheimer's who walks out of the home unattended. So finally, I was able to get where I was going. Thankfully, there aren't any button presses until you get to Cortana herself, and I was already in the right position for that, so that works. This section took me like 15 minutes. It wasn't that the enemies were too tough, it was more that the jumps weren't being very nice to me. I tried, and tried, and tried again to make them, but I just kept dying. Thankfully, being blessed by being reunited with what this game tries to pass off as a love story, I was able to get out of here without being yeeted by some big floody boy, although that did happen quite a bit. So it's really just all trial and error, people. That's all it is. Thankfully, this last part is easy. All you have to do is get to the choppa like it's a meme circa 2007. My favorite thing about doing this challenge is since you're going to take a while to get where you're going, the game will get pissed off at you and give you a pity waypoint to show you the way. I mean, it does help a lot in situations like these. Even though this level is a pain in the butt on Legendary, it still makes me happy to beat it, even on easy. Alright, here it is. The last level of the game, and it's the moment that all you sweet viewers have been waiting for. I know what you're thinking, and believe me, it's been in the back of my mind since the beginning of the game. There's that big, epic gamer moment driving section at the end of the game, right? And yes, there is. We'll have to see how it goes. But first, there's a section ripped straight from Halo 1 for us to go through. Let's go! After we killed a bunch of store-brand zombies, it was time for the most anticlimactic boss fight in video game history. Even on Legendary, this boss fight is super easy. I mean, at least it isn't a QuickTime event, so at least it gets a point for that. But either way, the best character in the game still dies, and you clap the cheeks of this round boy once and for all. Alright, here it is. The moment we've all been waiting for. And unfortunately, this is about as far as I got. I even tried getting over to the Mongoose to see if that would make any sort of difference, and it didn't. You can't even get the Arbiter to drive either. So, after all that work, it was disappointing to see that there wasn't a way to beat it without moving the camera. I even tried looking up if it was possible to do without driving, because then I at least could finish in that way. But I watched a very good video from Rocket Sloth on YouTube where they tried to beat this section without driving, and they couldn't either. So, I even tried looking at getting the Ghost to do it, because the Ghost can move without relying on the camera position, but unfortunately, it needs to be in Legendary and on co-op even to try it. So, if there's anybody out there that wants to try that sometime, you know where to find me. But unfortunately, I cannot beat Halo 3 without moving the camera. So all in all, it was a tough challenge. There were parts that made me want to jump off a bridge, but there were also parts that weren't too bad either. It kind of reminded me of the professor in that episode of Futurama where he gets his back screwed up and looks up at the sky all day. Except that made him happy. This made me my biggest yet. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, comment Half Price Shake Gang in the comments. Also, let me know if there's any other challenges you want me to do. And subscribe if you want to see more cringe, and leave a like and ring the ever-living hell out of that bell so you know exactly when there's more cringe for you to binge. And have a great day. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Peace.